States has been boarding with permission some of these Iranian ships. Now, Iran admits it has 9 of them headed to Yemen, the waters off Yemen. So the United States and Saudi Arabia is in the way. The thinking is the United States and Saudi Arabia will try to stop these supplies from going to the Houthis. The Houthis want to take over the country, which borders Iran. Iran is with the Houthis. The United States is with the Saudis. That's the showdown. And if they try to board a ship that has weapons or something for the Houthis on them, then what happens? Joining us now is Michael Singh. He's the managing director of the Washington Institute. The group describes itself as a nonpartisan, nonprofit think tank based in Washington. Its mission stated is to advance American interests in the Middle East. Michael, thank you.
Hey, Shep.
This looks serious. Help us understand it.
Well, sure, Shep. You know, we've already seen some efforts along this line. On April 1st, there was an effort by a U.S. destroyer to board a freighter, which was suspected of carrying Iranian goods to the Houthis. I don't believe that turned up anything, but obviously the arrival of the USS Theodore Roosevelt, the arrival of these Iranian ships increases the muscle, maybe even increases the tension here. I think, Shep, for the United States, putting these Navy vessels there serves a triple purpose even. Number one is simply to prevent those Iranian arms from getting into that theater of conflict and prevent that conflict from therefore escalating and make the Houthis essentially come to the negotiating table rather than relying upon their military. Second is to reassure American allies that, in fact, despite our nuclear negotiations with Iran, we're not just cutting and running here. We're still committed to countering the Iranian presence and activities in the region. Third is those shipping lanes, Shep. Obviously, this is heavily trafficked water. You have maybe 3 million barrels of oil a day going through those Bab el-Mandeb straits between Djibouti and Yemen. So there's a real sort of energy and economic interest there, too. Okay,
the Iranian ships are coming. Let's say, hypothetically, that what the United States believes is true, that they have weapons and resupplies for these Houthi rebels who are trying to take over Yemen. The United States says, no, you're not going to go there. Iran says, oh, yes, we are. And then what?
Well, those Iranian warships, they would have to keep out of Yemeni territorial waters. That's international law. And obviously, if you had a situation where U.S. warships are trying to board those Iranian naval vessels, it would be a pretty significant sort of source of tension. My guess, though, Shep, is that if the Iranians are going to try to get arms into Yemen, it's going to be hidden on commercial vessels, like we've seen maybe in the past. Because, of course, there's a whole horde of commercial vessels going in these lanes. Knowing which one may carry contraband and which one may not is very hard. So that would probably be the more likely route for the Iranians.
So just two shows of strength out here. The Iranians, here's what we have. The Americans, here's what we have. Just a sort of foreshadowing or something? I don't know.
Well, the U.S. vessels are there for very specific reasons, and I think they'll conduct different activities. The Iranian vessels may just be symbolic, sort of a show of presence, a show that, hey, Iran has a role here too. But again, I'd be surprised if those Iranian vessels were the direct sort of carriers of those types of weapons.
Yep. Michael Singh, thanks very much.
Thank you, Shep.